Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Diane and my passion is painting and creating nature-inspired watercolours in my studio, which are easy for you to do too. I share all my paintings with you on YouTube, and on our website dianeantone.com you can find free downloadable sketches for all the videos to help you make the most of your painting journey. And if you'd like a little bit more, we also have channel memberships with loads of perks for you to enjoy. So welcome on board. Click subscribe and turn on notifications, and let's learn to paint watercolour. What we're looking at here is a branch of ivy, and ivy grows here all around us. In fact, it strangles a lot of the oak trees, but meanwhile it is amazingly beautiful, and I think it's completely underrated these days as far as a winter subject for Christmas paintings is concerned. Look at the colours in that. If I can get it to focus, there we are. These are the berries which are forming, and the smaller ones here, these are the little flowers. And then it has these beautiful shiny evergreen leaves, which are very important for animals to eat in the winter when grass gets a bit scarce. So the deer and the sheep and so on will eat all of this. And so I was looking for a subject today to paint, and mistletoe grows around here too, and there's lots and lots of mistletoe. So I thought maybe we would do perhaps a little bit of a combination. So anyway, this was what I was going to show you, which is my, idea sketch for mistletoe, teaching myself what colours to use to get the right shades for the leaves. Then sketching the mistletoe a little bit with pencil. This is a little twig, this is a berry, this is how it's arranged on the plant. I personally think that's really quite important to actually understand how the plant works before you start drawing it. So that's what I did. And here we've got the head of the berries of the ivy, which is quite different from the ivy that you get as plants. When you buy a plant that's got ivy growing in it, often it's completely different, isn't it? It's that variegated stuff with the typical ivy-shaped leaves, but this is a different variety and it has different shaped leaves, so it's much more of a bush or a tree than the little plants that we're used to as far as ivy goes. So this is what we have here. So this is a very dark green, so we're going to be looking for a dark green colour. And something like this would be a good starting point. This is, I think, that is probably, what is that anyway? That will be sap green, probably. So that's a good start. We probably will want some phthalo blue, which when we mix it with the sap green gives us a darker shade like that. And we'll want something reddish for the berries, coming in really close. That could be burnt sienna, perhaps, which would be that, and you might want to add a little bit of cadmium red to it to give you more of a rusty colour. So like that. So then when you've chosen your colours, you need to look at them and say, which what I always do is I say, could I imagine those colours on my duvet cover? If that was turned into a floral design or something, or on my curtains, or on a shirt or a blouse or something like that. And if you feel that there's nothing there that shouts out, my God, I don't belong on this piece of clothing, then you could probably go with it. So I think those colours, so we've got sap green, phthalo blue, that's a mixture of those two. Then we've got burnt sienna and cadmium red. And I think that's probably enough colours. I usually like to stick to about 5 or 6. So that's that. And then Oh, there are so many different things that we could do at this point. I could do a sketch on here and just draw it more or less the way it is and then paint it. Or I could do something a bit different as the inspiration strikes. So yes, if we were to be planning a composition, you could start by pulling your plant to pieces. You could do that. Let's do that. You know, it's very hard starting. So this is a thought. So this is a thought. You could then play around with this until you're happy with the arrangement, as long as you want to. And then my idea then would be to take a photo of that. So now the thing is, when you look at something through a camera, it always looks different. So you immediately, and I do this with my paintings to find out whether or not they're finished, you always see what you don't see, or I don't anyway, with your eyes alone and unaided. Immediately that looked lost, so that's better. Okay, so there we have my composition for today. So I can take them away, put them over there for future reference. I've got a piece of, this is £300 paper here. It's an old piece, something that was left over, I don't know, and it might be a bit blotchy, but I don't think it matters terribly much for this. So I'm going to paint with a fairly large brush to start with, and I'm going to mix up some green, like we said. I'm using my big messy palette today because it's going to be a big messy painting. So let's mix some phthalo blue with some of this sap green. And I want it nice and thick. And I'm going to just paint the leaf in like that. And then we'll do another one up here. When you run out, change the colour a little bit, the proportions perhaps make make it sort of more or less blue. And then we had, I think we might go a bit greener up the top here. We had another couple of leaves here, didn't we? And then we're going to want to do the heads of these in little circles. And we discovered a good technique, didn't we, in one of the other videos for doing the these things. Which was to use a cotton bud. So I'm going to pick up some green and some brown to make, sorry, make the colour more brownish like that. And then we'll just put some paint on the end there, and we're going to, that was going to be here, wasn't it? So we're going to something like that. And then I want more brown. I have to sit down for this. Like that. And then we need to join those all up. So it's got these little straight lines and it's got these little spiky bits. So we need a rigger, I think, or something thin. I'm not sure if a rigger would be the best. Let me see, we can try it. Or we could use a little fine brush like that. Can't lay my hand on the rigger at the moment. I'll probably want that one later, maybe. Right, I can't see it. Okay, so they are colour. It's light green, that one, but the one that I was doing was, yeah, green, light green. So a little bit of brown, a little bit of green. And you need to choose your center point, which is going to be like around here, and then come in towards that. Don't be afraid of going over. Doesn't matter, it's not meant to be a biologically correct thing. So that's that. And then we want to do the stem, so we'll bring the stem in like that. I'm still using the small brush there. And then we've got another one coming down. I'm going to do the joiny bits first, and then I'm going to put in the, and you know, it's all about play, isn't it? And just going with it. What is life if it isn't a game? Didn't there used to be a children's game called The Game of Life? I think there did. I think we had it with children. Okay, so then we've got another one up here which has got smaller dots on it. So we're going to try and do some smaller ones here. And then I'll try using my sword liner for the stem here, see whether I like the effect. I like the way the sword liner drops so much paint when you use it. It really does. It's quite interesting. Now, I feel we need another one here. And then I'm going to add some water to all of this to soften these leaves a bit. And then I'm going to abuse them. First of all, I'm going to do things like scratching in some centre veins and scratching quite hard into the paper, and then taking a piece of tissue and blotting some of it out. Because why not? And I might do the same thing on another one, which is a bit drier, and then I might blot one and then scratch it. And as you scratch, you can see, first of all, be careful you don't cut yourself, but you can see the texture arising and the veins appearing. In different ways. Great fun to explore that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of water on one side of this and this. And that one's already quite wet. And I'm going to do some scratching in there too. And then let me think, what am I going to do next? I shall pick up some, oh, I know, oh, hang on, in a second. First of all, I need some slightly darker brown for this. I'm using the sword liner just to give some texture along the bottom edge. At this point, before it's even dry or anything like that, I'm going to take another photo. Take another photo, look at what you've done, and then say to yourself, okay, what do I need next? You could play around again with your bits of leaf. So where do I want to put that? I'm going to put that there. Does it want another leaf there, perhaps? A smaller one? Some more like this? Would it look better with more? Or do we want a flower? It's hard to say, really. I think I'm going to probably just add more leaves using the same mixture of phthalo blue and green, because the leaves were really fun to do like that. And you've put plenty of paint on so that you've got plenty to wash off. You can load your brush with lots of paint, and when you do this, like dabbing like that, the brush will release the paint. so you get more paint on the paper into the shape that you've painted. You leave that for a second to sit, and then I'll do the same sort of things I did there. Meanwhile, I think we need some more flower heads. So, seed heads or whatever they are. So we grab some more, another one of these Dewberry Watsits, cotton buds. And let's do, where should we put it? Let's try it out. Put that one there. Then my sword liner, because I liked the effect that gave. What did I do with it? Oh. And then you can come back to these ones that we did, blot them out a little bit to lift some of the colour. So I've done it the other way around, just goes to show you see that it's not crucial. Add a bit more water. And then with my scalpel, scratching some lines. You can now, if you want, come in with just plain water and just go around your painting and just touch in a few places where it's still wet. You can do this. Which kind of links the painting to the paper, links the different parts of the plant to one another. And then I might grab my toothbrush and well, actually I won't use the toothbrush at first. I'm going to put a few more up here of these. Then again some kind of connection for them. If you put too much paint on, you can always lift it off with cotton bud is really good for that. You can just lighten it up. And then I'm going to do some spatter around here just a bit. Down here. Maybe a few. No, I don't like that. Good paper, you can just wipe it off. Don't like it. Tell you what I will do though, is carry this line down. There's, at this point, probably a good idea to let it dry and then come back and see. The fatal thing to do at this point would be to play with it. So I'm going to say that's going to dry. And yeah, that was fun. We'll see what it looks like in a little while. Okay, so it's dry now, and at this point, for my own personal reference, I will take a photo of the picture as it is at the moment, because sometimes it's very useful to look back. And so that's the way it is now. That was that's the same. That's the previous step, and there's my first experimental layout of the actual leaves. So it's interesting to see that process. Now, what I'm going to do now, I've got my Kuretake Starry Colours here, and I'm going to put some touches of gold on these flower heads. I've found that this yellow gold is the strongest of the three. I don't know quite why that would be. It seems to me anyway that it's the strongest. So I'm going to put some gold on. I'm not putting it on top of the darkest bits, but sort of to the side. So it kind of enhances a little bit. Just give it a little bit more of a festive air, so to speak, like that. Or perhaps, and then maybe I will just drop in a few spatters. I found my rigger. I was looking for something a bit longer actually, and it turned out it was there all along. So we'll just oh, I always forget too that you have to have a lot of liquid. I put some gold on these leaves just as a random thing, linking it with the background as well. And then mustn't forget to rinse that out, because if you don't it goes solid. Then here I've got my Winsor & Newton white gouache sort of pre-mixed up. I've got a kind of creamy mixture there of paint, and I'm just picking it up on my toothbrush, and we'll put some snow in. And if you go like that, you get bigger blobs, which is quite nice. And if you go like that, you get tiny ones, which you can't really see very well, but they just take the edges off, and lo and behold, all of a sudden you're in Canada. So there we are. That's the final painting for now. I shall take one more quick snap of that. We're so privileged to have these cameras. There we are. So I've got that committed to posterity. So yes, as I said, that's final painting. I'm off to do lunch. I hope you enjoy this and exploring design and how to apply paint and so on and so forth. There's a lot to learn from this painting. So there we are, Festive Ivy. Bye for now then, everybody. I'll see you again soon. Bye now.